This girl used her bare hands to melt the steel plate of the money carrier truck. Then she threw a gas canister into it, which made two special agents inside suddenly lost their resistance. They were choked out of the truck. Right after, Maddie used her hands to burn all of the money. Less than 5 minutes, $3 million disappeared. All of them had a superpower. In the year 2136, there were about 4% of residents on Earth had superpowers. The US took advantage of these superhumans to regain their potency. Within a few years, they created high-developed cities. But with the blooming of high technology, supernatural people got unemployed. They became second-class citizens, got no job and no income. All of this was because of the official regulations, they must be certified to get a job. But in fact, the government hardly issued any certification for them. They also developed a large number of robocops to restrain these superpowers. Connor was in second class in controlling electricity. He went to work at the construction as normal, but he once again got deducted a half-day salary for being late. When Connor was connecting two electric wires with his bare hands, a huge drone suddenly appeared outside the warehouse. There were two FBI agents. They received a report that someone had used his superpower illegally. Connor quickly stood in the row for the investigation. The drone scanned all the workers one by one, but any of them raised their head. At that time, the FBI gave a warning. After that, a man looked up with no mercy. The machine immediately rang out. This man was a wanted criminal. Outside, he appeared to be submissive, but before got in the police car, he suddenly set fire to an FBI then quickly ran away. At that moment, there were two robocops jumped down from the drone. They right away grabbed and shoot at the man. That little man quickly passed over. Connor and other workers also got fired cause they didn't have any personal documents. Not only they couldn't get their salary but also got on the blacklist. Connor was very angry, but think of his sick mom at home, he had to be patient. Lost the job, Connor could only wait for the luck. Suddenly, there was a red car drove over and looked like it could discharge electricity. Everyone can just keep their silence seeing this scene. They knew this bearded named Garrett. He was a sidekick for a local thieves gang. They occupied about 90% of the new D products on the market. No one wanted to get involved with them. After hesitating for a while, Connor stood up cause he got an offer for $200. With that amount of money, he can buy 10 days of distinctive treatment medicine for his mom. On that night, 3 of them drove to a pharmaceutical company. There was a 100,000-volt electric grid blocking their way. That was the reason why Garrett recruited Connor. Connor grabbed the grid, tried to release his power. A minute after, the electric circuit had been disconnected. Garrett was taken back. This power control ability was much than just second class. Then, Maddie melted the chain. The 3 superhuman carried out all the chemicals. Unfortunately, security appeared. At that time, Garrett took out a walkie-talkie from the air. Although they were already discovered by the drones, Garrett took advantage of the bridge to cover the red car. In that way, they successfully escaped from the hunt of these drones. Though this job was very hard, he can get the money quickly. Over a few days, Garrett came to find Connor again. This time, they would go for the Q Bank. If successful, the reward would be $20,000. The man cut the steel pipes with his bare hands. These workers were building a house. All of them had superpowers but became the lowest class in this society. Connor started a training course to control his power cause they were planning to rob the local biggest bank. He stared at the light bulb in his hand, but hadn't exerted any effort yet. The bulb went burned instantly. After that, Garrett conducted high-intensity training for Connor. On the other side, they analyzed the bank's security system. There were 2 bodyguards with guns and bullets, cameras everywhere. The most difficult thing for them was the door of the money container. If they wanted to open the door, Connor must use his power to shortly disconnect the electric circuit. But this would trigger the alarm system and robocops would arrive in minutes. Luckily, Connor's control ability got at the 5th level at that time. He could easily release electromagnetic pulse. Everything was ready, everyone was about to get action. That night, they followed the plan and rushed into the bank. They controlled all the guards inside in an instant. The Connor approached the gate and released an electromagnetic pulse. The electric control system immediately broke down. However, after the crew entered the vault, they found out there were only $50,000 left. It was a day before, all the cash had been taken away by the headquarters. With the hopelessness, they ran out in hurry. They ran to the back door but it was already locked by the drones. They were going to drop the robocops down. Connor immediately released the pulse, which made these drones lose their power. Getting back to the bar, Garrett started to query the boss why would he give them the fake news. At the same time, a bald man walked in. Without saying a thing, he just pointed the gun at the boss. Fortunately, Rhino standing next by was not that bad. He immediately blocked all the bullets. Another man beside quickly knocked out the assassin and took out the weapon from his hand. But Connor got injured in the scuffle. After simply bandaging the wound, Connor met a girl, Nia. Nia gently took off the gauze on his arm, then put her hand over the wound. Accompanied by a strange light, Connor's injury was miraculously healed. It turned out that Nia was a healer. A bold idea came up in Connor's head. He came to the hospital seeing his mom on the bed. He felt guilty and had to deal with high surgery fees. Helplessly, Connor could only find the boss and offer cooperation. The police were going to deliver a batch of new Type D products, which were worth about 30 million. Connor said that he could help to steal it. The condition was that Nia would go with him to cure his mom. These were the Robocops in the future world. They were created to deal with the superpower. If there was any superhuman resisting, these Robocops would kill him immediately. At that moment, a few superhumans felt gloomy about their lives were going to make a revolution against the authority. They wanted to rob the new D product cost 30 million. The police used 2 drones with 4 Robocops to escort the truck. But there was a no-fly zone in this city. Connor and the crew planned to make it here. They made clear all the scope for each member. Garrett drove a garbage truck to block the police. The next step was to deal with the Robocops. Connor was ready to discharge his power. He released the electronic pulse to knock out a Robocop. The money truck also lost power at that moment. Garrett used his power to lock 2 Robocops on the ground. Then Connor quickly ran over and held their heads. He directly used the electricity to make it paralyzed. On the other side, Maddie took the opportunity to unlock the door and grab the goods away. She used a gas canister to open the door and make the 2 FBI surrendered. The 4 with perfect cooperation successfully took the products. But when they were going to leave, the boss shot at an FBI agent. Maddie was also hit and lost her breath. It seemed like the boss had already arranged this game for villains to defeat villains. Fortunately, 2 Robocops came and killed the boss within seconds. Connor and Garrett took the chance to escape. Since the boss didn't follow the rules, it couldn't blame Connor for betraying. Connor found the sheriff the next day. He told the hiding place of the boss. The boss was surrounded by the police a day after. In the chaos, the boss ran away together with the Bald and Nia. But he didn't expect that Garrett had been waiting for a long time at the back door. He took down the boss directly, then used his superpower to run away. But it wasn't that easy to escape. There was no way for them to escape. Garrett used his power to control Davis. Then Connor quickly rushed out and used an electronic pulse to knock the Bald down. But this man was like Wolverine. He had self-healing ability. Connor was immediately pressed onto the ground. At that moment, Garrett picked up a steel bar. He used one hand to control the Bald and used another to stab the bar directly in the man's eye. Connor used his power to transfer the electronic pulse to the bar, which made the Bald man finally fell down. Garrett also punched the boss into the air. There was only Nia left. Connor promised as long as she could cure his mom, he would let her go. Nia suddenly raised her sleeve, showed the same wound as Connor's before. It turned out that Nia didn't have the superpower of healing. She just transferred others' injuries to herself. Connor had already got this far. How could he give up easily? But when he came to the hospital, seeing the way Nia treating his mom, Connor was awakened. He couldn't exchange one's life to save another. The movie got to the end at this point. If you could choose a superpower, which one would you choose? If you like this video, please subscribe.